Alrighty, guys, welcome back to iCoach Nutrition Radio. Today, I have a very special guest, somebody who I've had the pleasure of working with one-on-one for years there, and then also had the opportunity to be able to actually work with some of his employees there at his company, kind of doing a little bit of a corporate challenge there. So without further ado, Mr. Chris, what's going on, my man? How are you?
Hey, how are you, Justin? Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're super busy, and you've been able to take the time. I really appreciate that. So, really, what today is about, as we were kind of talking a little bit before this, is I want to just go over really like we don't have to go so much into our journey of working together, but more so with that corporate challenge that we did, and being able to have that opportunity to work with some of the employees there at your company. So, can you kind of talk about just really kind of introduce yourself, your company, like give people a little bit of reference as to, what the company is and what y'all do. And then we can kind of dive into how that all came about and how it got started in terms of the coaching relationship.
Yeah, so I'm the founder and CEO of RealManage. It's a community association management business headquartered in North Texas, but with operations now in 18 states around the country. And we've been on a super fast growth path, growing a lot of by word of mouth referral, and it's been a heck of a ride. I have a tremendous team, and we are constantly faced with the pressures of growth and all that goes with it. And so I wanted to do something with you to really kind of reward my team, but really but also to help dial them in, get them, even more focused on, just their entire well-being. Our corporate theme, we tend to have a business theme and then kind of a softer theme each year. So in 2020, our theme was grace, showing each other grace, both at work and at home and all that. And the employees really took to it. In 2021, our theme was actually happiness drives success. So it's not the other way around. And so then if we could start with having my employees be happy in their entire lives, they will absolutely be successful at work. And you were a huge help in that. And it was a phenomenal experience.
That's awesome. I mean, as we were talking, it was the first time I've ever had the opportunity to do something like this, right? And so I was able to work with 40 of your employees there, right? And I just think it's so cool. I mean, because if you think about it, it's like, obviously we know that our health and the way we live our lifestyle in terms of focusing on sleep and nutrition and exercise and all of these things and what it does for us, not just with work, but our relationships with our families and just the quality of our overall life there, right? And so I think it's a great opportunity for obviously any company to be able to present something like this for their employees. But had you ever heard of anybody doing anything like this before, or did it just kind of come to mind to you? I mean, I honestly don't even remember how it all kind of kicked off for us there, but
you know how it kicked off was I had started doing CrossFit probably when I was, I don't know, 38 or 39. I'm 51 now. And probably maybe halfway along that journey had met you. And I never really, I'm not an endurance athlete and never really was competitive in the sport, but to the point where I had never done Murph all the way through. And so I told you, this is the year. I turned 50, I'm going to do Murph. And I told somebody else at work, and they said, that sounds great, I'll do it. And it was early in the year, right? So we had from February 1st to the end of May to train. And I'd made the decision. Well, that was the 4 months that you worked with us. I'd made the decision to do Murph a little bit even before that. And I told somebody, and they said, that sounds awesome, I want to do that too. And I told somebody else, and they said, yeah, I'd like to do that too. And I thought, gosh, well, if I'm getting this kind of response, I should open this up to all my folks. And that's what I did. And we had I think 100 employees commit to it, and 50 signed up for one-on-one training. You coached 40 of them, and we had another phenomenal coach for the other 10.
Yeah, that's right. That's on. And then we had the opportunity to actually do, I mean, there were several people that got around kind of all over the nation there, which was really cool to do the workout. And then we were able to get together there and do the workout together as well. So yeah, Chris suckered me into doing Murph again, guys, after 4 years of doing CrossFit.
It was fun though. I will say that, like, you know, it was way more fun preparing for it and actually doing it than I had feared. And, you know, recall too, this was, you know, doing Murph in May of 21 and training for it in the first half of this year. Folks were coming off of a year of COVID and, you know, not even seeing each other. And some of my employees, I could tell, were really struggling emotionally and mentally and physically with all that went with sheltering in place and kids home from school and all that, and people spouses losing jobs. And so after a year of that, and we hadn't even had that social connection, right? Our office had been closed for a year. This was a way to also bring us together to conquer a challenge as a team, which was super uplifting. It gave people the opportunity to support one another. I mean, it far exceeded my expectations. I knew it would go well, and I knew folks would appreciate it. But, you know, the email threads that I was copied on and the group training calls that we had and the feedback afterwards, folks were, you know, like, so I'm a CEO, so employees will say, oh, can we increase benefits in this way or that way, or can we do this for the employees or that for the employees? And you know, of course, we consider all those, and we want to be a phenomenal employer, and we really want to take care of our employees. Doing something like this was so unique. Folks really got that I care about them as individuals. You know, my company's RealManage, and we talk about the RealManage family, right? And taking care of one another. And something like this spoke way, way louder than a healthcare benefit plan or something like that, right?
Yeah. Wow. No, I mean, I totally agree. I think and obviously I got to see it hand in hand. And I mean, I've been able to see it now for the last 12 years of doing this and working one-on-one with people and seeing the value and what it can do for their lives. But to be able to, you know, work with 40 of those individuals, and then also to see, you know, like you said, whether it's the email thread or that Facebook group with having everybody kind of post their post-call updates. But I mean, there were some awesome things that happened. I mean, obviously 4 months is a very short period of time in comparison to, you know, the habits that have been built over, you know, whatever, 30, 40, 50, 60 years here. But just in that 4 month period of time, there was so much awareness that was created through using some of these different tracking tools and doing the weekly coaching calls. I mean, there was people that lost 20, 30 pounds. There was people that just ended up feeling a whole lot better and having way more energy and productivity. There was some that hadn't worked out in years, and then now all of a sudden they're getting into a consistent workout routine. So, you know, sleep habits, there's all these different things that kind of carried over. And I thought it was really cool to you know, see a CEO be able to, you know, obviously we got to work together one-on-one, so I had a little bit of influence there, but to see a CEO, you know, be able to like see the value in one-on-one coaching and make that investment in their employees and in that company. I think it's such a cool thing, because as we talked about a little bit, was like, we talked about just doing the group version, right? And I was like, we can do this, but I don't like, the one-on-one is the game. Like the one-on-one is really what makes actual change, right? And so I was grateful to be able to, you know, have that opportunity to do the one-on-one as well as the group there. So,
and I told you this, you know, during the program and afterwards, but I mean, you really should be proud that, I mean, you've got a gift for this. You really are good. I mean, you can coach folks that at any stage in their age, any stage in their fitness journey, whether that fitness journey is even like, you know, as basic as sleep and water, or as advanced as nutrition supplements and that sort of thing. And so your ability to meet my people where they were individually was phenomenal. And folks really, I mean, it was uplifting. It was great.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate that. I think that's I mean, something I try to remind myself and other coaches and every, it's like I think that's one of our biggest jobs as coaches is to meet people where they are in this journey, right? Because it is, it's information overload. There's a million different people saying a million different things. They've tried everything under the sun. And like for them, it's like, it really truly is like, how can I meet you in this journey and help you to become just a little bit better, slowly but surely over time, and improve that quality of your life, get you feeling better, get you looking better, get you performing better. So
if you can get somebody, if you can get a 60, 70-year-old woman to sign up at the beginning to say, yeah, I want to do the Murph challenge, and I haven't been exercising and I'm struggling with diabetes and all that, like, then, that's pretty special, right?
Absolutely. 100%. I think a lot of people want, the cool thing about working with a company is that, one of the things that we seek as human beings is being a part of a community, being a part of a tribe, right? And so I think anytime that you can kind of corral everybody together and get everybody in a more positive, motivated mindset, that carryover into everything else obviously translates well. So I love that. What's been kind of, so I followed up with pretty much every single, I think it was maybe after, I don't know, maybe a month or 3 months or something like that. I kind of had followed up with everybody and checked in with everybody. And there's a lot of people that are still doing really well. I told them, I was like, the biggest thing that you lose after this is accountability in terms of, us having our weekly coaching calls and having access to me, text messages and all of that. But you still have the habit tracker. You still have like that food and drink picture log. You still have MyFitnessPal. You can still use these tools to keep coaching yourself now that you know how, right? And so it's been really cool to see the evolution now, it's almost been double the timeline since we had worked together, and seeing them continue to evolve there. What was some of the immediate feedback that you had from just other executives there as y'all were talking about it, and then just any employees that had been, that the threads that you had been reading through, or the Facebook, or the things that I had sent you there? What was just like the overall feedback from everybody, and maybe even thoughts of like, hey, would this be something that we potentially would want to do more often, or is this something that people just got a lot of value out of one time and potentially they're going to try to do on their own? Or I don't know, where was everybody's kind of headspace at?
I would say so. I do know, so I travel, and sometimes we'll be at a hotel with folks that I know participated in the challenge, and I can see it in their behavior that here now, many months later, they're still doing it. Or they'll I'll meet them for breakfast and they'll say, oh, I'm running a few minutes late because I'm finishing my workout. And these were guys that folks that hadn't even been working out before, right? And awesome. Then in the evening, they're you can tell how the habits have changed, right? It's drinking water with dinner, and I got to go to bed. Right. And why do I have to go? Because I have to wake up early. Right. So there were a lot of good habits that formed. I think another theme was many of my folks, almost universally, everybody felt like they had a good, a pretty good understanding of nutrition, of what they needed to eat and how they needed to live their lives. And time and time again, folks were saying, wow, I had no idea what I didn't know. And a lot of, I'd say, I don't know, to put a number on it, maybe 90% or 95% of the learnings that they got through the process were from you. And the other learnings were from our group calls and collaboration. And what are you cooking? And how are you doing this? And what's your life hack for making sure you get enough water every day? How do you even keep track of it, right? What kind of trackers are you using? I'm not getting enough protein. Oh, here, like, one of the guys was super passionate about, and even got me started on throwing protein powder in my coffee in the morning, right? So there were so many learnings that we got from each other. Clearly far more from you, but we had folks who were like competitive gymnasts, like at a national level, and we had somebody who was a phenomenal dancer back in her day, and they were still learning. And one of them even said to me, Chris, like, I forgot what my body was capable of back then. It's been so long, and it's so nice to start to feel and realize, like, it's just a reminder of what I used to be able to do, and now I'm kind of getting back to being able to do that again. So it was awesome.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, I don't, I always tell people, I'm like, my whole life was an athlete, right? And after I finally stopped competing in CrossFit, that was the first time in my life that I wasn't competing in sports anymore, right? And it was also the first year that I started my business. And so I was like, I'm going to go all in on business. And it turned out to be my worst year of health of my life, right? I worked out the very least. My nutrition was the worst. I drank more alcohol. The sleep was prioritized less, like all of those things. And in a year, I was reminded that my health is my greatest asset, right? And if I don't sit here and prioritize it, it doesn't just stay there, right? And I think that's where a lot of people, through this process, that's kind of what they realize is like, if I can start to look at these things, sleep, nutrition, exercise, hydration, stress management, like those 5 big rocks that I always kind of talk about, if we can start to build some awareness around these things, right? Start to get some strategies in to help us improve these things. Well, then that carryover, right, translates into what I'm trying to do here for work, and then also every other area there with my life, and essentially just getting me more into a proactive place with my health rather than being in the reactive place where I have the doctor's visit and I get diagnosed with whatever, And so I think just getting people more proactive with their health. I mean, that was probably, at least in my eyes, like the number one goal here over this 4 months, other than getting people ramped up and excited about doing Murph, obviously, right? Or doing their version of Murph, right? But man, I love it. So what if there was another, if you were thinking about another friend that you knew, or if some other CEO came to you and kind of asked you about this, like, I don't know, what would that conversation look like? What do you, if you were to, if somebody else was listening to this podcast right now and they were thinking about doing something similar like this with their company, like, what advice would you give to them, or what recommendation would you kind of give to them on doing that?
Yeah, it was so awesome to bring everybody together as a team and to set not just a simple challenge, but like complete Murph, right? In whatever form that was. It was just there's nothing to be there's no comparison to anything I've done. I mean, I've been a business leader for 30 years and started this company 17 years ago. And, I struggled to think of anything to compare it to. I would say that, I guess, if I spoke to another CEO and they were thinking about doing this, I would tell them that not to get too caught up in whatever the cost, the monetary cost of the program is, because the dividends that it pays are immeasurable. So as CEOs, we think of, investment and return, right? And so if it's going to cost X, what's my return going to be? And the return here is, some of it's tough to quantify. It is immeasurable, but it's huge and it's real. And the loyalty and sort of the love that we feel for our employees and for what we're doing is just so palpable. It's I've never seen anything like it in any company I've worked for, or it's certainly in the company that I'm running right now. So I would highly recommend it.
That's awesome, man. I really appreciate that, and obviously I had a pleasure being able to do that with your company and have that opportunity there. And I told you since here that I had an opportunity to like do that again, and so now I'm that's kind of part of this podcast today. I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, why did I never really think about this before? And Chris kind of sparked this idea here for me, and now I'm like, man, I think that this is actually like a phenomenal business model, to be able to go and help other companies and really be able to get that health pillar, if you will, a big priority in every company's life. Because I think if we can do that, we make our employees healthier, you're 100% going to improve everything else in business that you're looking to achieve there. So
yeah, I started off thinking, okay, we'll sort of allocate, an investment here, we'll give it a try, and I'll pay for one-on-one coaching for 10 folks. And then there was, okay, how do we choose who the 10 are? Is it the first ones to sign up or commit? And then that was inevitably people were going to be left out. So we said, turn in your names, and then we'll sort of randomly choose from everybody who turned in. who said they wanted it. And then I like, folks were so interested and it was already feeling so powerful. It just did not seem right to tell anybody, sorry, you didn't get one of the slots. And that's why we ended up with, I don't know, 51 or 52 people doing it, and started off saying, we'll do it for 10, and decided not to turn anybody down who's willing to step up and make the commitment. And I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, Chris, I know you are a busy guy. I know you got to hop on another Zoom call here soon. So, hey, I just want to thank you for taking the time again. And I really appreciate, obviously the opportunity to work with you over the years and the opportunity to work with your company. And, hopefully in the future, we'll be able to kind of do something again there. But yeah, for everybody listening out here today, hopefully this was valuable for you. Hopefully, who knows, if I ever get another CEO on the podcast listening, maybe that'll spark something there.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I had the idea. You did all the work, but in the process, I think you made me look good. You made my company look good. You sort of made my employees look good, feel good. And so, huge debt of gratitude for you, to you. So
well, thank you. It's a win-win for everybody, right? That's the best partnerships, right? So
absolutely. Thank you, man.
I love it. Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
All right. See you, brother.